Silver amalgam restorative material is one treatment modality for the restoration of pit and fissure caries in the occlusolingual fissure of maxillary molars. In this tape, we will treat pit and fissure caries on a right first molar, tooth number 3. When treating an ivorine tooth, mark with a 0.5 mm lead pencil the non-coalesced fissures to be included in the preparation. Visualize the proposed cavity outline form. It must be stressed as illustrated. Visualization of the cavity outline is essential. The cavity preparation is created with a high-speed handpiece using a number 330 carbide burr, as is the case with other incipient occlusal lesions. Make initial access parallel to the long axis of the tooth. For maxillary molars, the appropriate guide is in the middle third of the lingual surface of the tooth. Using the buccal surface would create the lingual wall divergent occlusally and the buccal wall overconvergent. In other words, the preparation would have a lingual tilt. Establish the burr's orientation with the long axis of the tooth on the lingual surface. Under water spray, apply the rotating burr to the tooth using small brushing strokes. The burr enters the distal pit to an approximate depth of 1.5 millimeters or 3/4 the length of the flutes of the burr. If at this depth the pulpal wall does not extend 1/2 millimeters into dentin or is not 1.5 millimeters in depth, deepen the cavity preparation in this area. Maintaining the mesial distal width of the preparation as narrow as possible, extend the preparation distally with light brushing strokes of the burr, following the rise and fall of the occlusal surface and the dentino-enamel junction. Remember, the cutting action of the burr is to prepare the pulpal wall flat with respect to the dentino-enamel junction and the mesial and distal walls to converge occlusally. The mesial pulpal and distal pulpal line angles are slightly rounded. Reaffirm the burr's orientation. To prepare the distal wall of the occlusal portion of the preparation, the burr is tilted slightly toward the distal and buccal to create the proper degree of either parallelism or divergence of the distal wall. As the external lingual surface is reached, carefully exit through onto the lingual surface, maintaining the burr parallel to the long axis of the tooth occlusally and perpendicular to the lingual surface. The lingual fissure is prepared holding the burr either parallel or perpendicular to the lingual surface. With a parallel orientation, the burr is held parallel with the lingual surface and fissure. A buccal inclination of the burr is necessary to establish the preparation evenly 1/2 millimeter into dentin. With a perpendicular orientation, the burr is rotated to the lingual so it is perpendicular to the lingual surface. The cavity preparation is extended as far gingivally as needed to remove the non-coalesced lingual fissure. Penetrate the tooth 1/2 the length of the flutes of the burr, which is approximately 1 millimeter. The mesial, distal, and gingival walls meet the cable surface at 90 degrees. This wall orientation creates the mesial and distal walls convergent lingually. Round the axial pulpal line angle. Leaving this line angle sharp increases the possibility of fracture of the amalgam because of inadequate depth and concentration of stress in this area. Remove any remaining decay. A spoon excavator is used to feel the texture of the dentin. Carious dentin feels soft, is dull or chalky, and can be removed with hand or rotary instrumentation. A round burr in the slow-speed handpiece is used to remove the decay. The largest round burr that fits in the cavity is used to prevent a mechanical perforation of the pulpal chamber. Then the spoon excavator is used as a final verification that all caries has been removed. Verify that the enamel cable surface margins are supported and smooth. Rough occlusal cable surface margins are smoothed with the side of a 330 burr in the high-speed handpiece at a reduced speed or with a slow-speed handpiece. When rotary instrumentation is complete, a suitable sharp bend-angle hatchet smooths the lingual cable surface margin. Care is exercised not to sharpen the internal line angles. All unsupported enamel is removed with firm planing strokes that curve onto the gingival wall as it is reached. It is important not to end the planing stroke at the gingival wall. Doing so will create a sharp distal gingival or mesiogingival line angle. Cavity debridement is accomplished with water spray followed by gentle drying with a stream of air, being careful not to desiccate the dentin. Beginning with the outline form, evaluate the cavity preparation. The access or size of the preparation is consistent with what was planned. All defective pits and non-coalesced fissures have been removed and the cable surface margins are not placed in areas of occlusal contact. The mesial-distal dimension of the cavity preparation is no greater than 1/2 millimeter wider than the 330 burr, and the small nib of the amalgam condenser fits in all areas of the cavity preparation. All enamel irregularities have been removed from the cable surface margins. The cavity outline exhibits a smooth contour, free of unsupported enamel, and the distal marginal ridge is intact and supported by sound dentin. Internally, the pulpal wall is established 1/2 millimeters into dentin, but is never less than 1.5 millimeters in depth, nor greater than 2 millimeters in depth, measured from the cable surface margin. The axial wall is also 1/2 millimeters into dentin, but is never less than 1 millimeter in depth. Internal line angles and the axial pulpal line angle are rounded and the walls are smooth. The pulpal and axial walls are flat. The mesial and distal walls are slightly convergent occlusally except for the distal marginal ridge area. Here the distal and buccal walls are either parallel or slightly divergent occlusally. The mesial and distal wall convergence is a retentive feature in this preparation. Visualize the outline form of the cavity preparation. Recall the location of occlusal contacts. Also, study the size and shape of the finished preparation. This refamiliarization will assist you in carving the final restoration.